Democrats are saying they may shut down the government.
I mean, okay. I just can't imagine they're going to do that. I mean, how are they going to explain that to the American people? They don't want the military getting paid? I mean, they want, listen, on Monday, I'm supposed to go with the EPA administrator. I'm going to take him to St. Louis to see in person the site where we have nuclear waste still burning in St. Louis. And the Democrats are what? They're going to shut down the government so the EPA has to stop all of its remediation and monitoring work. We can't monitor the nuclear burn in my state. Better not happen.
So, on Department of Education cuts,
yeah.
At this point, are you concerned that there could be cuts to programs like IDEA, to Pell Grants? Are you at all concerned that there will be issues with getting those kinds of funding out of the department?
My hope is it'll make it easier to get it out, that the funding ought to go directly to local school districts, parents who have IDEA plans. That would be my hope. I mean, obviously these details are being finalized, but that's my message to the administration of the department is, hey, use this as an opportunity to move that funding to local school districts, to parents. So,
Your thoughts on the tariffs that President Trump is putting in?
Well, let's see where they end up. I mean, the president has revised these several times. So, listen, I think the bottom line is, when I think about the economy, I think it's time for congressional Republicans to start thinking about a tax cut for working people. I'm all for renewing the president's tax cuts. We've got to do that. But I think we probably need additionally to do something that's going to actually cut taxes, put money back into the hands of hardworking Americans. I think they need it, based on what we're seeing.
Are you worried, Senator?
Senator, have you been in touch with your state education officials?
Oh, yeah.
And so what is there? Are there things that they rely on the federal government still to do that they're going to have to make up and block in their own?
Well, funding. I mean, we get funding. Missouri gets funding, certainly, and my hope is that won't be interrupted. Listen, I'm all for fewer employees in Washington, bureaucrats in Washington taking up ed funding. I'd love for everything that they make, all their salaries, all that stuff, to be moved to states like mine and to local school districts.
But what about Title I funding? Because that's supposed to help the disparity between low-income schools, higher-income schools. I mean, how is that going to be done locally when it's at the federal level that kind of tries to level the playing field there?
Well, it's the checks are written at the federal level. So my point is that I hope that the funding will still be available, but in terms of having thousands of employees at the Department of Education who are getting paid and taking a chunk out of that funding in general, I'd love for all of that to be moved to local school districts and to the states.
So you don't think the big picture coordination that happens in the Department of Education will end up being cut by this at all?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. But my hope is, my message is that I hope that we are going to move that funding to local school districts and states. All right, thank you guys. I've got to go.
Their children destroy school. We can use the money here, Senator. We can use the money here for our school.